physical presence.
Yes, you have to be able to prove him. If you don't prove him, so how can you say he exists?
Let me. Okay. Show me your brain.
My brain, what I'm talking to you about is a concept of my brain. What do you mean? Hold on.
One second. I'm getting a point. Let me make the point.
This is a wrong analogy.
Let me make the point.
Because you said show you your brain.
Yes.
I'm just telling you. I'm just showing you.
Let me make the
You
point.
asked the question, wait for the answer.
I haven't given you a...
No, you said show me your brain. So wait for the answer.
Okay, show me your brain.
I'm talking to you, yes?
Show me your brain, please.
Hold on. I am talking to you, and what I'm saying to you is product of my brain.
Okay, thank you. Okay.
And my brain is in my head.
Let me understand.
Hold on. If I break my head open...
One second.
You're not waiting for the answer. If I break my head open, or if I break somebody else's dead person brain open in the lab, yes, you can see the brain inside there, so I can show you the brain.
Right,
can you show me God in the same way?
Let's do this. Okay. So the first thing you said was that you see something because of the product of that thing.
No,
are you going to take this back?
Yeah, no.
So the way one second.
But I can at the same time. I can break it open and show it to you.
You have to let me finish my sentence. So the first thing you said to me was that the way that you see the creator, the brain, your brain, is because of the product of that thing. Yes? Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Go ahead.
So in the same way, now we're talking about concepts. In the same way, we can infer. So what you're doing is you're inferring your brain existing because of the product that you're assuming is a product.
I'm not assuming. I know it is product of my brain.
We'll come to this knowing in a bit. You're making an inference of your brain existing, even though you cannot see it. From what perspective? Because of its products. Now, what I'm saying to you is, when it comes to dealing with the creator, we apply the same approach.
Okay. Can you break somewhere open and see the creator, like you break my head open and see the brain?
So show me your brain.
No, hold on. If I die, it's stupid for me to kill myself right now and open my head.
Let me give you an example.
If we go in a lab and see a dead person and break his head open, we can show you. I can show you a brain.
Okay, 1 second.
And
I will explain.
That's the same thing. Hold on. That's the same thing. But can you do the same to God?
Let me explain to you now. So you said to me that the way you know your brain exists is because you're talking to me.
It's product of my brain.
How do you know this?
What do you mean? How do I know?
How do you know that your words you're saying to me is a product of your brain?
Come on.
I'm asking you a question.
It's 21st century.
I'm asking you this question.
And I'm answering you the question. In 21st century, now we know that brain is being tested in the labs, many different labs all over the world, time and time again, and they know we think through our brain. Everything decision we make is because of our brain. If we don't have brain, if you have an accident, and your head damaged, not yours, let's say my head.
Anybody's head.
Anybody's head gets damaged, that person may not be able to talk or say anything because his brain has been damaged.
And what does that prove?
Hold on. I'm just telling you how brain, why we know. I'm just telling you why we know our talking, our thinking, everything is from our brain.
Okay.
Because of the reasons. If someone had a head injury, most probably he will not be able to talk properly. Most probably he may not be able to think properly. But if somebody has an accident and his arm breaks, he can still talk. His leg break, he can still talk. He can still make decisions. Even if his heart gets injured, as long as they can pump the blood in him or her, that person can still talk and make decisions. But if anything happens to anybody's brain when they have he or she has accident, he will not be able to make decision maybe. So this is how we know our thinking and our talking is product of our brain. Show me the same way you're God.
Okay, so this is straightforward. So one of the things you're saying is that you see things because of their products. Yes?
Not necessarily.
That's what you said.
No, we're talking about our brain right now.
We're not. One second. No. We are talking about how to prove something that you don't have in your hand to show me. So you said, Abdullah, I can see him. You said
seeing not necessarily.
Let me finish my sentence. You have to let me finish my sentence, otherwise we're not going to have a conversation, right? You said that you knew Abdullah was there because you could empirically see him.
Yeah.
This is what you said, right?
Yeah.
So I said, okay, show me your brain. And what you did was you switched. You said, oh, if I go to a lab, I can open someone's brain.
Yeah.
And I can show you the brain.
Yeah.
But then that person is not talking.
Yeah.
So you're making the assumption. You're saying, oh, well, actually, science has shown that if you damage the brain, people can't talk well. So therefore, the brain is causing the talking. And when I open something, I'm thinking that this is the thing that's talking. So you're making assumption about causality.
No assumption.
One second, let me finish my.
Go.
You're making the claim it's known, isn't it? Okay. So in the same way as we can infer things can exist without empirically seeing it, you know that your brain exists, you haven't seen it.
Yeah.
That's the honest answer. You know your brain exists, but you haven't seen it. That's the honest answer. If you want to be honest, it's up to you.
Yeah, well yeah, I haven't seen it, but I know because of experience. I know.
Okay, so
I know because of many experiences.
Okay, that's fine. I appreciate experience.
But do you know God because of your experience?
Yes.
How? Show me. Show me your God.
Can you? Experiences are not things you can show to people.
No, I just proved.
One second.
Listen.
One second. Let me finish my sentence.
I know brain. That's the thing.
No, you haven't.
Yeah?
Which experience are you showing me?
I just proved
Which
to
experience?
you, and you accepted it.
Accepted what?
Accepted that we know brain does the thinking.
No.
We talk because of our brain.
You're not answering the question.
You accept, and you said, turn the same thing to God. So that means you accepted what I told you.
So this is the problem that we're having, because you're not. Either you can have the conversation and discuss it, or if you want to make the thing. So the assumption that we are making is that you need to see something physically to be able to know that it exists.
Not necessarily. See, not necessarily proof.
That's fine.
See, not necessarily the proof.
Good.
And I tell you why.
That's exactly the point I was making.
No.
That's the point I was making to you.
Because you see many things and it doesn't exist.
Okay. So that's.
But as long as you can hold on.
Yeah.
Proving is like you see mirage. Yeah.
Yeah.
Does mirage exist?
No.
Okay, so seeing does not necessarily mean proof.
So why did you bring that as a requirement in your first thing?
No. I said
did you
not necessarily.
No.
But at the same time.
So what's your name, by the way? What's your name?
Irrelevant.
No,
my name is.
Make something up.
Mehdi.
Okay. My name's Imran.
Imran.
So now I'm asking you the question, Mehdi, right? Why is it that you brought the empirical thing, seeing, as an example when you're saying that seeing is not the reality? Why are you saying
I said it has proven in the lab.
No, the lab is not irrelevant.
I said if you go to many labs,
you've just
and they hold on. Listen.
Mehdi, listen to me. 1 second. If you're saying to me, you said to me initially, you said two opposite things now. Tell me which one is right. You said if empirically you see it, it means that's how you know it exists. Now you're saying you not necessarily seeing is believing.
Yes.
So which one is it that you're going
to? Hold on. But I told you about my brain or anyone's brain. I said it can be proven in the lab.
What can be proven in the lab?
Brain. That brain does the thinking. Brain
How do you know
makes you talk. Come on, in 21st century, tell me how do I know?
Do you know the difference?
Brain.
I'll tell you the one. Let me ask you a question. Do you know the difference between causality and correlation? Do you know the difference between
You tell me.
I'm asking you a question.
You tell me.
Okay, so I'm going to assume that you don't know because you're sort of asking me to
tell me.
So because
tell me what causality is.
No, this is what I'm explaining to you. So I'm asking the difference between correlation and causality.
You tell me the difference between correlation and causality.
If I put wires on your head, wires all over your head to measure electrical activity, and then I have a conversation with you, I see things moving. What does that tell me?
Listen.
I'm asking, Mehdi, you asked me to
go on.
Explain. I'm explaining to you.
Go on.
What does the electroplatility tell me about your thinking?
You tell me. You are putting it on my head, so you have to tell me what does it tell you?
The only thing that can happen from that is I can make an assumption about this is related to the thinking. Do I know what the thinking is from the movements on the...
Nowadays they can tell some of the thinking.
No, they can't tell. They cannot tell.
They can tell some of the thinking. They can tell what the monkey thinks.
They can't tell what the monkey thinks.
With the monkeys and mice, they have done it and they can tell what they...
Who is they? Tell me. Show me.
Scientists.
Who? Which scientists?
I cannot
show me the study.
Name them right
because you're making things up, Mehdi, with respect. You cannot tell what someone is thinking by looking at some electrodes moving up and down. You can't tell that. What you have to do is you have to make a correlation. You have to ask the person, when we saw this thing move on the monitor, the electrodes, what were you thinking? And they say, I was thinking about coffee.
Okay.
Then you say, okay, can you think about coffee again? And then you check. And then you say, okay, this other thing that was moving, what were you thinking about then? I was thinking about ice cream. Can you think about ice cream? Now, if you separate those two things, if I just see the electrode moving, I cannot tell without the person telling me what they were thinking, what this means. This is called correlation.
And after, okay, go
One
ahead.
second. So there can be no, you cannot prove that the thinking is because of what we're seeing in this thing. You can't prove that. All you can say is there's a correlation. Now, I'll give you another correlation that isn't true. I'll give you an example of a correlation that isn't true, Every time there's an accident, there are these vehicles we see that are yellow and green and square. So every time there's an accident, when you go there, you see these vehicles that are yellow and green and they're square, but like bands.
Okay.
And they have the word ambulance written on them.
Okay.
Yeah.
You get enough.
So someone can see these two things occurring at the same time. The accident is happening, and then you see the vans that are blue, that are yellow and green appearing at the same time. And you make the assumption that these are related to accidents. So this is accident, either involving or part of the accident.
Okay.
Is that true or false?
What are you getting at? What does it have to?
Okay,
What does all this has to do with you proving that God?
Here we go.
There is
See,
somebody is called God.
Wonderful. This is good. Because the point was that because you drifted off into the brain section. This is why we're talking about correlation.
You broke the brain. You said, how do you know your brain exists?
And
now
then,
you're telling me I drifted off to it.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. I accept what you're saying. But the whole point here is that the point is that you can infer things existing without seeing them.
But
have you been to Paraguay?
But experiment, because of experience, is like if I tell you who made that building, you say a builder, an engineer.
Okay.
How do I know an engineer built that building? Because many times in my life I have seen engineers planning.
That's not the reason.
No, listen.
That's not the reason.
Okay, listen.
Brother,
planning,
Mehdi,
no,
this is
listen.
not the reason.
Listen, planning things and making buildings. So therefore, if I see a building, you tell me who made it. How do you know who made it? I say engineer because of my past experiences.
Okay, wonderful. So what about
so
now?
How can you say the same thing about creator?
So if you look around, all you see is design. All you see is create things that
show me design. Where is the design? What design? By who? What is design?
So first you have to see the design.
No, what is design?
Who made this building?
A builder.
Which builder? Who?
I cannot tell you the specific builder,
so
but
one
I can
second.
tell
So
you a builder made the building.
Don't ask me who when you need to ask me what.
What?
You're telling me what? You're telling me the builder made the building.
Yeah.
So I'm telling you, look around you. You see design. We see things that are created with purpose and specific functions. This is design.
Okay.
You can deny design.
Have you seen the same thing? Have you seen the same? Listen,
let me finish my sentence, Mandy. So when you see design, then you have to have a designer, right? We're talking about what now, not who yet. We'll come to the who later.
Okay.
So when you look around and I see things that are working in a way that's functioning and they're designed to mesh perfectly together, whether you're talking about DNA, whether you're talking about how the water gets on a 200-foot tree, how the water's starting in the ground and getting to the leaves and evaporating, whether you're talking about how things grow, whatever you're talking about, grass, geology, whatever you're talking about, the clouds.
The designer who
this is a functioning, balanced system that is designed.
Okay.
We see design.
Okay. Have you seen same as I've seen different builders building different buildings? Have you seen different designers building the universe many times? That you are assuming a designer has made our world.
Okay, let me ask you.
Have you seen other worlds been made by different designers?
So are you asking me?
So you're assuming. Hold on. So you are assuming that the same designer or different designer has designed our world.
Let me understand you.
So you cannot do that.
So let me understand you.
Okay. Yes.
So if you see one building,
it's
one building standing in the desert. No other buildings exist. You see one building, yes? 5 stories high, everything is there. You're going to say, I'm not sure if a builder made this.
Why would I say I'm not sure?
Because there's only one building.
No, in the desert, I've seen buildings made by builders other places.
Mahdi, I'm giving you an example of your scenario.
Okay.
I'm giving you an example of your scenario using your metrics. There are no buildings on this planet. There is only one building.
But we're not on such a planet. We are on a planet that there are many buildings.
I'm talking about your thinking process.
No.
And what you're doing is you're running from the conversation.
I'm not running. Okay. You're just saying on a planet that there is only one building. Yes. No, we are living on a planet that there are many buildings.
Mahdi, I know this. But you have to listen to the conversation question I'm asking you. This is called avoidance.
No,
so you can avoid. If you don't want to. If you don't want to.
You that you are going wrong.
I will explain to you. If you don't believe in what you're saying, that the reason you believe that all the buildings are made by builders, different builders, because you've seen many different buildings being built, you don't believe this. And I'll tell you why you don't believe this. If you lived in a world where there was only one building, you would never, 100%, and you can tell me, you would never ever say, there was no builder for this building. You would never say this. Tell me. No. One second.
Listen.
Deal with my question.
Living on a. Hold on.
Mahdi, deal with my question.
No.
Don't avoid my question.
No, because that's a wrong question.
I'm asking.
Wrong question
Mahdi,
doesn't have answer. If you
make
a wrong question, why would I answer a wrong question? Your question is wrong.
Okay.
Because if you are living on a world that there are many buildings and there are many engineers, and we've seen all these engineers building.
Which ones have you seen?
What do you mean, which one?
Tell me which engineer you've seen.
My own house was built by engineer.
Yeah. Okay, one. Okay. Tell me any other buildings. Who built this building over here?
Come on, maybe
built the building?
Hold on.
Tell me who did it.
Okay, maybe that building was built even before I was born.
So who built it?
Who built it? I know a builder.
Unless you have seen it.
The only way I can find that, I can go to city council and find out the name of the engineer.
So maybe
even get his photo.
You don't know.
Yeah?
Okay,
but
you don't
what
know.
you're saying
okay,
is...
you don't know. You don't know. That's fine. You can say you don't know.
I know a builder. Yes, I know a builder builder.
So Mahdi, but the reason, the problem you made is, this is the thing. You're saying we've only got one universe. We've never seen other universes being made.
No, maybe there are other universes. But the one,
listen to me.
Have you seen universes built by God?
This is the illogical thing. You're saying we've only got one universe. We've only got one building. So we haven't seen many universes or many buildings being made.
No. Have you seen many buildings being made?
Listen to me. Your analogy I'm taking along. Your analogy.
My analogy was the truth that there are many buildings.
It's not. Your analogy is incorrect because you're making the claim that if you're making the claim and you're denying this, I'm surprised. You're saying that if there was only one building,
I'm not saying if there was only one building. We are in a universe that there are many buildings.
Can we finish our
So your question is the wrong question.
Let me finish my sentence.
Unless you ask the right question, I will not answer the question.
Mahdi, why are you worried?
I'm not worried.
You're worried because you're not letting me even finish my sentence.
Go on, carry on.
You're making the claim that if there was only one building in the world, you would not believe it was made by a builder. That's the claim you're making.
It's
illogical.
No. You put it. I never said that. You've been saying that all along.
So
I never said that. So don't say something and say I said it.
This is what you're saying. This is an analogy.
I said there are many buildings.
I'll give you. I'll help you.
No. Because you are being recorded. Go on to read.
I don't care.
No, I'm just saying.
Go
on, watch them again.
Let's turn the cameras away.
I don't care. Watch that. You realize you are the one who said it. I'm saying we are living in a world that there are many buildings, not only one.
Listen to me. I don't care about the cameras.
Oh, I don't. I'm just saying that you can go and read.
So that's the problem. Now what you need to do is there needs to be some honesty from you.
Yeah.
Okay? If there was only one building in the world, you still would say that this building has been built.
No, hold on. We are in a world that there are many buildings. There is no only one building.
Let me finish my sentence. The universe, the world that we see around us, exhibits design. It shows this property. Now, you have to either you can give me 1 second.
Okay.
1 second. Let me finish my sentence. Let me finish my sentence. So either you can explain to me where the design came from, without the designer.
Okay.
Either you can explain to me that, or you have to accept the concept that there is a designer for the designer.
Listen.
So tell me.
Okay. Wait. Hold on a second. If I was a designer, there are many things. Why would a designer Yeah.
Before you change it, you're changing the topic.
I'm just. You
First, answer my question, please, Mehdi.
You asked me for a designer.
No,
I'm
I
telling
never-
you,
no,
if
I
there
said
is a
this-
designer, is a
Mehdi,
stupid designer.
Mehdi, listen to my question.
Because the design is
Listen
not
to my,
so
listen,
good.
Mehdi, listen to my question. You're not answering my question.
That's your question.
What is my
Go
question?
Ask it again.
Mehdi, the universe that we see around us, everything that we see exhibits design. We can see it.
No.
Now,
it's
one
not
second, let me finish my
design. I'm just
sentence.
telling you, no, it doesn't exhibit design.
Okay, so it doesn't exhibit design?
No.
Nothing at all, random?
No. It's more likely to be random than design.
What's random?
No, listen. I'm just
So tell
saying
me,
it is not
no,
design.
1 second, what do you mean by random?
No, you just a word that you throw, and I said is more likely to be random.
What
I
do you- what
didn't
do you
say
mean
it is
by that?
random. But I'm just saying,
No,
if
but
there
you-
was, it's not a
Mehdi,
design.
Mehdi,
Listen,
Mehdi,
you
Mehdi.
asked me if it's
No,
a
I didn't
design.
say
I'm
this.
saying it's not a design.
I'm asking you to
And
explain.
you want to listen why it is not a design?
Okay, go on then. Are you going to answer the question, or are you going to just be rude like this?
No, excuse me.
You're being rude. You're not allowing the conversation.
Why am I being rude?
I'll explain to you.
Hold on.
I'll explain to you.
No. You just
do you want me to
you're just telling me
do you want me
I'm
to tell
rude,
you?
and I'm telling you
I'm
why.
I'm telling you. You want me to tell
Why
you?
do you tell me I'm rude?
Do
I
you
have
want?
not said
Do you
anything
want me
rude.
to tell you why I said that?
Yeah, go
Do you
on,
want me to tell you why I
Tell
said
me.
that? Because what you're doing is you're talking and you're stopping like this and you're looking at me.
No, who do you want me to look at when I'm talking? We are.
What I would like you to do.
We're having a face-to-face
What I would like.
conversation.
What I would like.
Of course,
What I would like you
when I
to do.
talk
What
to
I would
you.
like you to do is to. What I would like to do is actually respond to the question I asked you.
And
I asked you very specifically about. We see the design. It's there. Now you.
And I said it's not a design.
You said there's no design.
Oh.
Okay, so your circulation system doesn't have a function. There's no design in that.
I didn't say it doesn't function. I
Has
said
no
there's
design.
no design.
Okay, so tell-
If it was a design, it's a stupid design.
What? Tell me why.
Why?
Tell me why.
Why the designer made a design that in Africa, African people are suffering?
I'm talking
Because
about.
I'm not
I'm
having-
talking about
no.
your heart. I'm talking about your heart.
Oh, my heart.
Yeah,
What
tell me
about my
circulation.
heart? You
I'm
change
talking
this-
about the-
Never
no.
from the world we go to my
No,
heart.
no. I went from the heart. You went to the world.
No. You
You went
we were
from the
talking
heart to
about the
Africa.
world.
You went from the
no,
heart to
no,
Africa.
no. We were talking about the world.
No,
Now-
we're talking about
okay,
design.
why are you
We're talking about the
my
design.
heart? Design of what? Design of my
Your
heart?
circulation system. Tell me what's wrong with it.
What do you mean?
You
what?
said there's no design in your circulation system.
Did you?
You said.
I never said we were not talking. Even us, even human being design. What
Is it designed?
No. What kind
Tell me
of?
about your
no,
heart.
hold on.
Tell me
What
about
kind-
your heart.
Okay.
Mehdi, tell me about your heart.
Okay.
Mehdi, tell me
Listen.
about Mehdi. Tell me about your heart.
Okay, if you keep quiet for a second.
You have to, because what you're
You
doing
ask
is
the question,
this
let
is the
me
problem.
answer
The
you.
problem we're having, Mehdi, is we're not actually talking in the line.
No.
You said that there's no design.
And you threw it to
You
my
said-
heart.
so
and
I said, okay,
why are
you
we talking about
you have
our
your
heart?
cir-
We
you
were
have-
talking about the world.
Talk about the solar system, universe. Tell
Okay,
me.
yes.
Anything.
Now, okay.
Solar
Okay,
system.
now you want to go about human being? Okay.
Solar system. Either we're talking about design, so either heart or the solar system. You tell me about design.
Okay. You want the solar system, the Earth, solar system? Okay. Why has it designed solar system the way that it is? What is the use of Mars? What is the use of Pluto? What is the use of all those planets that has no living creature on it? They're just going around for nothing. For what? If that was a design on purpose, then what is the purpose of it?
So you don't know the purpose.
No,
of it.
no, you tell. No. If it's a designer,
second.
no, if it's somebody who designed it for our sake, then there should be purpose to those. But I'm just saying there is no designer.
Are you?
This
no,
is
no.
the way that the world it is.
1 second.
yes?
I'm talking about the universe. You said this. You said that things are purposeless. Yeah?
No.
You said
no.
Mars has no purpose.
There is no purpose in life. There is no purpose in anything. This is the way it is.
Why are you here then?
What do you mean? Why am I?
If your life is without any purpose, why are you not relaxing?
Accidentally.
Why
I'm
are you?
here.
No.
I'm-
You're not hearing my question. Why
You're
are you
just asking me why
I
are you
haven't
here?
finished-
I'm just
you didn't-
answering
you didn't,
and
no,
say
you didn't.
no.
You didn't answer my. You didn't hear the question I asked you.
Go on,
Maybe.
ask the question.
You didn't even
again.
hear the question I asked
Go
you.
on.
You want to hear the question I
Go
asked
on
you?
again. Go on.
If your life is purposeless, your life, is meaningless, purposeless.
I did not say my life is
That's what you
meaningless.
said
I have
just
every
now.
meaning in my life.
You said
But
that right
no,
now.
hold on. The purpose that you are talking about, you mean somebody made us for a purpose? No, it's not that way. In my life, I make a purpose for my
So
life.
you arbitrarily make it up, yeah?
No. You said, why are we here? I said, we are here
that's not-
accidentally.
That's not what I asked you, Mehdi.
Go
I'm
on.
talking about you, with
Yeah,
your
what
life
about
that was made up. yeah, the accidents. There's no reason you're here. There's
yeah, we are
there is
all
no,
here
no, you're
accidentally
talking about
as
yourself.
human beings.
Everything was an accident.
No.
There's no.
I tell you why.
Well, let me finish my sentence.
You asked
Let me finish. I haven't asked a question.
Go on.
I'm making a statement.
Go on.
Do you want me to make the statement?
Go on.
Or you just like to argue?
And this will be your last question, and you let me answer it before you jump to something else. Because the minute I go to answer you, you change the question. What's the point of you asking different questions?
You talk for 5 minutes.
No. There's no 5 minutes.
I'm going to time you.
Ask it, no.
I'm going to time you because you're making this statement over and over again.
If you ask
2 minutes, I'm timing you.
If you ask a question, you wait until your question is answered. Now you can ask your question and you wait for the question to be answered. Yeah. Otherwise, you don't change your question from one thing to another. Yeah?
You've got 1 minute 45 seconds.
Go on, ask your question.
1 minute 45 seconds.
For what? Ask your question because you asked me too many questions and I don't know which one to answer right now. You asked me too many questions. Okay, let's say my answer is finished. You're gone. Because you have to ask me the question all over again. You asked too many questions.
Coward. So this is a clearly an atheistic person who was a bit of a nihilist, who was actually trying to disrupt the dawah. So I took the person to the side and was having a conversation with them. And very interesting thing is sort of slipping from point to point and not sticking with principles that he'd made. So the first principle that he made was that to believe something exists, you need to see it. So we gave the example of the brain, and he wasn't able to produce evidence that his brain existed. And what he said was, I can see other brains, and because there are injuries to brains, that tells us that the brains are involved in thinking. And then we talked about, we made the point of correlation, something being correlated. So that means if you see something happening and something else happening at the same time, how can we say that they are linked to each other? At this point, he didn't seem to understand this. And then we moved on to a concept that we can see design in things, and that would indicate a designer. Gave the example of buildings, and I gave an example of there being design within the universe. What then happened is that he said, actually, we've only seen one universe. How you're making the assumption that there's design. So when we gave the analogy of there being a building on its own in the world, how would you know that single building is designed? He didn't want to engage with this point because he knew that it would make his way of thinking become illogical. And then unfortunately, the rapport broke down and the conversation sort of ended. But it became a little bit sort of just a phase of denial. So this is what really nihilism can take you to, the idea that your world is purposeless, just an accident. It makes you purposeless and just an accident. So what you end up doing is actually having a life where you make arbitrary meaning. And the question really I was asking him, if somebody thinks that their life is without any purpose, why are you here on a Sunday evening having conversations with people? But we never really got to that. But hopefully that was a useful thing, and maybe you will benefit from the conversation. Assalamu alaikum.